Story 1, The Frozen Broadcast. The radio had been playing my daughter's voice for 47 minutes, and my daughter had been dead for 3 years. I white-knuckled the steering wheel of my Peterbilt, staring at the CB radio mounted on my dash as Sarah's 7-year-old voice sang the lullaby I used to sing to her. Outside, the Dalton Highway stretched endlessly through January darkness, temperature readout showing negative 38 degrees. The heater blasted, but I felt colder than I'd ever been. "Daddy, can you hear me? I'm so cold here." My name is Robert Hayes. 46 years old, been running freight from Fairbanks to Prudhoe Bay for 11 years. I've handled blizzards, equipment failures, and once spent 19 hours trapped in my cab during a whiteout. I'm not a man who scares easily, but hearing my dead daughter's voice crackling through the static made my bladder weak and my hands shake. I'd tried changing channels. All 23 CB channels played the same thing, Sarah's voice, sometimes singing, sometimes crying, sometimes whispering things a 7-year-old shouldn't know. I'd tried turning the radio off. The voice continued. I'd pulled the power cord from the unit entirely. Still, her voice kept broadcasting, clear as day, while the radio's display screen remained black. "It's dark where I am, Daddy. There are others here. They want to meet you." The rational part of my brain screamed explanations. Carbon monoxide leak. Grief-induced auditory hallucination. Some sick bastard hacking CB frequencies with recordings of my daughter. Though how they'd get those recordings, how they'd know exactly which truck to target on this empty highway, that part didn't track. 300 miles from the nearest town, not another vehicle in sight for the last 2 hours, just me and 74,000 pounds of mining equipment heading north. I'd passed the last turnoff 60 miles back. No exits, no turnarounds, just endless frozen highway cutting through wilderness that wanted me dead. The Dalton doesn't forgive mistakes. Stopping isn't always an option. Your diesel can gel in this cold, your engine can freeze solid in under an hour. You keep moving or you die. There in the truck with you, Daddy, behind your seat. Ice crystallized in my lungs. I didn't want to look. Every instinct screamed not to turn around, to keep my eyes forward, to pretend I hadn't heard. But my head was already turning slowly, my neck muscles moving against my will. The sleeper berth curtain hung open. I always kept it closed when running solo. Always. I'd closed it at my last fuel stop in Coldfoot, I was certain. The narrow bunk lay in shadow, my sleeping bag a dark lump on the mattress. As my headlights swept around a curve, light penetrated the sleeper for just a moment. Someone was sitting on my bunk. Not someone, multiple shapes. 3, maybe 4 silhouettes crowded into the small space, motionless, watching me with the patient stillness of predators. My heart hammered against my ribs. I snapped my eyes forward, accidentally jerking the wheel. The Peterbilt drifted toward the shoulder, and I overcorrected, feeling the trailer swing slightly behind me. On ice in this cold, that swing could jackknife the whole rig. I forced myself to breathe, to ease the wheel straight, to ignore the presence behind me. "Look at them, Daddy. They've been riding with you since Fairbanks." Since Fairbanks, 6 hours ago. I'd stopped for coffee, used the restroom, done my pre-trip inspection. The sleeper had been empty. I always checked. Always. The thought of these things riding behind me for 6 hours, sitting in darkness while I drove, made my skin crawl. I reached for my phone. No signal, expected out here, but still crushing. The radio crackled. "No one's coming to help. It's just you and them and me. We're family now." "You're not Sarah," I said aloud, my voice hoarse. "My daughter is dead." "Your daughter is right here." The voice shifted, deepened, became something that approximated Sarah's voice, but with wrong harmonics underneath, like multiple voices speaking in imperfect unison. "She's been right here since you buried her wrong, since you put her in frozen ground and left her there, Daddy, so cold, so dark." Guilt twisted in my chest, the old familiar guilt that had ridden with me for 3 years. Sarah had died in February, leukemia that ravaged her in 8 months. We deburied her in February ground, had to pay extra for them to break through the frost. I'd stood at her graveside thinking about how cold she must be in that frozen earth, knowing it was irrational, knowing she was gone and past feeling anything, but unable to stop imagining her small body in the cold. "That's not real," I muttered. "You're not real, this isn't happening." Something touched my shoulder. I screamed, actually screamed, loud and ragged, and the truck swerved violently. This time the trailer swung hard. I felt it start to go, the terrible sideways. Momentum that meant I was losing control. My training kicked in. I didn't brake. I accelerated slightly, steering into the skid, feeling the trailer swing back, overcorrect, swing again. For 20 seconds that lasted forever, 50 tons of truck and cargo danced on ice at 60 miles per hour while something with fingers too long and too cold gripped my shoulder. The truck straightened. Somehow I kept it on the road. The hand remained on my shoulder, impossibly cold even through my heavy jacket. In the rearview mirror I could see it now, a pale arm extending from the darkness of the sleeper, skin blue-white like frostbite, fingers that bent at too many joints. "Pull over, Daddy." "Can't stop," I gasped. "Diesel will gel, engine will freeze." "Pull over and join us. Join Sarah, we'll all be together, cold together, dark together, forever together." The temperature gauge in the truck began to drop. That wasn't possible. The engine was running, heater on full blast, but the gauge needle sank steadily. Within seconds, it showed the cab temperature was freezing. My breath misted. Frost crept across the inside of the windshield in fractal patterns. More hands emerged from the darkness. They reached for me, caressing my neck, my arms, my face. Everywhere they touched burned with cold. I could see them better now in the dashboard lights, not human hands, not entirely. The fingers were too long, the joints bent backward, the skin translucent enough to show dark bones underneath. "We've been waiting for you," Sarah's voice said. "All the drivers who disappear on this highway, you always wondered where they went. Now you know, we take them. We take them into the cold and they stay with us forever." Statistics flashed through my panicking mind. Over 20 truckers vanished on the Dalton Highway since 1974. Most presumed to have died in accidents, bodies never recovered in the wilderness. But some vanished without a trace. Trucks found abandoned, engines still running, no sign of the driver. No footprints in the snow, no blood, just empty cabs and unanswered questions. My vision started to fade at the edges. The cold was inside me now, creeping through my veins like ice water. My fingers felt numb on the wheel. The speedometer showed 40, then 35. I was slowing down without meaning to, my foot easing off the accelerator as the cold sapped my will to fight. "That's right, Daddy, just let go. Stop fighting, it'll be over soon." No, I had two other kids, Marcus and Jenny, 16 and 14. I had an ex-wife who'd never forgive me if I disappeared into the Alaskan wilderness. I had a life, damaged and grief-scarred, but still a life worth living. I slammed the Jake brake, downshifting hard. The engine roared, compression breaking, fighting against momentum. The truck shuddered. The hands on my body tightened, nails, were they nails or claws, digging into my skin through my clothes. In the passenger seat, something materialized, not gradually. One moment the seat was empty, the next a small figure sat there, child-sized, wearing the pink dress we'd buried Sarah in. But it was Sarah. The face was wrong. The proportions distorted, like a sculpture made by someone who'd never actually seen a human child. The eyes were too large, too dark, reflecting my headlights like an animal S. The mouth opened too wide, showing too many teeth, all of them pointed. "Don't you want to hug your daughter, Daddy?" I did the only thing I could think of. I grabbed the CB microphone and screamed into it. "Mayday, mayday. Any truck on the Dalton, mile marker 427, I need help. Something S in my truck, someone respond." Static answered, but different static now. I could hear something underneath it. Voices, dozens of them, hundreds, all screaming, all calling for help, all overlapping into a wall of desperate sound. "They all called for help too," the Sarah thing said. "We answered, we always answer on this highway." The hands pulled harder, trying to drag me backward into the sleeper. I locked my elbows, pressing myself forward against the steering wheel. The cold was overwhelming now. Ice crystals formed on my eyelashes. My breath came in shallow gasps. Ahead, lights appeared. Two pinpricks in the darkness, growing larger. Another truck, coming south while I headed north. Hope surged through me. Another driver, another witness, another human being in this nightmare. I flashed my high beams, on, off, on, off. The distress signal. The other truck flashed back. We closed distance rapidly, and as the southbound truck passed, I caught a glimpse of the driver in his cab. He was screaming, his mouth wide open, face contorted in terror. And behind him, pressed against his sleeper curtain, dozens of pale hands grabbed at his shoulders, his head, his arms. He was infected too, infested. Whatever these things were, they'd spread to other trucks, other drivers. How many, how far did every truck on the Dalton carry these? Passengers. We spread, Daddy. Every truck that drives this highway carries us now, to Fairbanks, to Anchorage, soon to the lower 48. We'll ride in every truck, every car, every vehicle, spreading cold, spreading darkness, spreading ourselves. My fuel gauge caught my attention, 3/4 full when I'd left Coldfoot. Now the needle sat on empty. That was impossible. I'd burned maybe a quarter tank. I stared at the gauge, watching the needle visibly sink toward E while the engine still ran strong. They were draining my fuel somehow, ensuring I'd stop, ensuring I'd have no choice but to pull over, to shut down, to let the cold in completely. 2 miles, maybe 3 before the engine died. Then I'd be stranded, and these things would have all the time in the world. The Sarah thing leaned closer. Its breath smelled like grave dirt and freezer burn. Time to sleep, Daddy. Time to join us in the cold forever. I made my decision. Better a quick death than whatever these things had planned. I checked my mirrors. No vehicles behind me, no witnesses to what I was about to do. I gripped the wheel, aimed for the embankment, and jerked the wheel hard right. The Peterbilt left the highway at 42 miles per hour. For a moment we were airborne, the trailer swinging behind us. Then we hit. The world became tumbling chaos, metal screaming, glass shattering, my body held in place by the seatbelt while everything not secured became projectiles. The truck rolled once, twice, 3 times. I heard the trailer disconnect, felt the sudden lack of weight behind us. The cab continued rolling down the embankment, every impact driving the air from my lungs. We hit a tree, the world stopped spinning. Steam hissed from the destroyed engine, alarms blared, every warning light on the dash blazed red. But the hands were gone. I hung sideways in my seat, the truck on its side. Blood ran down my face from a gash on my forehead. My ribs screamed agony, broken, definitely broken, but I was alive, and I was alone. The sleeper berth was empty. The passenger seat held nothing but broken glass. I unbuckled, falling onto what used to be the passenger window. Every movement sent lightning bolts of pain through my chest. But I crawled. Through the shattered windshield, out into negative 38-degree air, across snow that burned my hands. I collapsed 20 feet from the wreck and looked back. They stood around the truck, dozens of them, pale shapes in the darkness, humanoid but wrong, like ice sculptures of people carved by someone who didn't quite understand human anatomy. They didn't approach, just stood there, watching. One of them wore a pink dress. I must have passed out. When I came to, headlights burned my eyes. A vehicle had stopped. Voices shouted. Someone wrapped me in blankets, loaded me onto a backboard, EMTs, a medevac helicopter. I tried to tell them about the things in the truck, but my words came out slurred and confused. They found me 7 hours later. I'd lost time somewhere. The doctors said I had severe hypothermia, 3 broken ribs, a concussion, and frostbite on both hands. I'd been exposed to negative 38-degree weather for hours. By all rights, I should have died. But I didn't die. They wouldn't let me die, because dead men don't spread. I'm writing this from my hospital room in Fairbanks. It's been 4 days. They say I can go home tomorrow, back to my house in Anchorage, back to my kids, back to my life. But I can hear her again, Sarah's voice, whispering from the hospital television when it's turned off, from the ventilation system, from the cell phone on my nightstand. See you soon, Daddy. We'll be waiting in your car. We ride everywhere now. Everyone carries us home. And the worst part? This morning, my son Marcus called from Anchorage. Said he'd been hearing his dead sister's voice coming from my truck, my personal truck, the Ford F-150 I keep at home. He said it started 3 days ago, right when I crashed. They're already there, waiting for me, and I have to go home eventually. I have to drive home. Story 2, the weight that increases. My name is Patricia Sullivan, and the load in my trailer weighs 6,000 pounds more than when I loaded it 4 hours ago. I know because I've crossed 3 weigh stations between Anchorage and my current position on the Glen Highway, and each time the scale shows my gross weight climbing. First weigh, 78,200 pounds. Second weigh, 81,900 pounds. Third weigh, 20 minutes ago, 84,600 pounds. I'm hauling electronics, sealed pallets of computer equipment bound for a mining operation in Glenallen. The trailer was loaded, secured, and sealed in Anchorage at 1400 hours on March 19, 2024. The seal remains unbroken. No stops except for fuel and required weigh stations. Nothing should have changed. But my truck handles heavier now, Feel it in the steering and the brake pressure and how the suspension compresses differently over bumps. The trailer isn't just reading heavier on scales, it is heavier. Something is adding weight to my sealed trailer while I drive. The sun set an hour ago. March in Alaska means limited daylight and now full darkness surrounds me. The Glen Highway cuts through wilderness here, the Chugach Mountains looming to the south, endless forest to the north. Towns are sparse. Cell service is non-existent. I'm alone with my growing load. I run the numbers obsessively. 6,000 pounds gained in 4 hours. That's 1,500 pounds per hour, 25 pounds per minute. If the rate continues, I'll be overweight enough to warrant serious fines within the hour. But fines are what scare me. What scares me is the question, what weighs 6,000 pounds and can manifest inside a sealed trailer? The CB radio offers only static. I've tried every channel calling for any driver who might be nearby. Nothing. The radio works, I can hear the static clearly, but no one responds, like I'm broadcasting into a void. My truck is a 2019 Kenworth W900, 186,000 miles, well-maintained. I've driven commercially for 19 years, the last 8 on Alaskan routes. I know this highway. I know its quirks, its dangers, its seasonal changes. What I'm experiencing now fits no category of normal mechanical or logistical failure. The trailer shudders, not from road conditions. The pavement is smooth here, recently repaved. The shudder comes from inside the trailer itself, a vibration that travels through the fifth wheel connection into the cab, like something shifting, something heavy repositioning itself among the secured pallets. I check my mirrors compulsively. The trailer looks normal. 53 feet of standard refrigerated unit, running lights all functional, seal visible and intact on the rear doors. But in the dim illumination of my taillights, shadows seem to move across the trailer's white surface. Impossible shadows cast by nothing. Another weigh station appears ahead, mile 103, the last before Glenallen. I consider bypassing it, but I need to know. Need confirmation that I'm not losing my mind. I take the exit, rolling onto the scales as required. The digital display climbs, and stops at 89,100 pounds. Fuck, that's 4,500 pounds in just 20 minutes. The rate is accelerating. The weigh station attendant, a tired-looking man named Roger according to his name tag, comes out of the booth. He looks at the display, then at me, then back at the display. "Ma'am, you're 11,000 over limit. You'll need to shut down and arrange for." "I know what my trailer should weigh," I interrupt. "It was legal 4 hours ago. It was legal at the last 3 weigh stations. Something's wrong." Roger frowns. "You saying my scale's broken?" "I'm saying something impossible is happening, and I need help figuring out what." He walks around my truck slowly, professionally, checking for obvious violations. He examines the seal on the trailer doors, running his flashlight over it. Seal's intact. Haven't opened it since loading. "Not once." "Well, weight's weight. Scales don't lie. Either you loaded heavier than you thought, or—" He trails off, his flashlight freezing on something. "Ma'am, is your trailer supposed to be frosted like that?" I climb down from the cab, ribs tight with apprehension. My trailer is a standard dry van, not a reefer unit. There's no refrigeration. But Roger's right. Frost covers the lower half of the trailer, thick crystalline patterns that shouldn't exist. I touch it. My fingers come away wet and freezing. "That's not possible," I whisper. Roger touches it too, then jerks his hand back. "That's cold, real cold. You sure there's no refrigeration unit on this thing? I point to the front of the trailer. Does that look like a reefer to you? It's a dry van, standard electronics shipment, nothing that needs cooling. We stand there staring at the frosted trailer. My breath mists in the March air, cold, but not cold enough for frost to form spontaneously on metal. Not cold enough for the thick ice patterns I'm seeing. Something thumps inside the trailer. We both hear it, a heavy impact against the interior wall like something large fell over. Roger steps back. You better open that trailer, ma'am. I can't, breaking the seal means. I'm ordering an inspection. Your trailer's overweight, exhibiting abnormal temperature anomalies, and there's unsecured cargo shifting inside. Open it. Now. My hands shake as I pull out the bolt cutters I keep for emergencies. The seal is industrial grade, designed to prove the trailer hasn't been opened since loading. Breaking it means questions, investigations, possible accusations of tampering. But I need to know. The seal breaks with a sharp crack. I grab the door handles, Roger standing beside me. With his flashlight raised. On 3, he says. 1, 2, 3. We pull the doors open. Cold air billows out, not normal cold, but a deep Arctic cold that burns exposed skin. The temperature has to be -40, -50 inside. Frost covers every surface. The pallets of electronics are where I left them, properly secured with load straps. But between the pallets in the spaces that should be empty, something else occupies the trailer. Ice, not ordinary ice. Massive formations of it, grown from the floor like stalagmites in a cave, reaching toward the ceiling. They gleam in the flashlight beam, refracting light into rainbow patterns. Beautiful and utterly impossible. What the hell? Roger breathes. I count the ice formations. 17 visible from the doors. Each one roughly human-shaped, a thick central column with protrusions that could be arms, a rounded top that suggests a head. Like crude statues, like frozen people. This wasn't here when I loaded, I say. My voice sounds distant, dreamlike. 4 hours ago this trailer was empty except for the pallets. I watched them seal it. Roger climbs into the trailer, approaching the nearest ice formation. Don't touch it, I shout, but he's already reaching out. His hand makes contact. He freezes, not metaphorically. Actually freezes. Ice spreads from the point of contact, racing up his arm in crackling patterns. He tries to scream, but ice fills his mouth, his throat, spreading across his face. In 3 seconds, he's encased. In 5 seconds, he's just another ice sculpture in my trailer, arms still extended, face locked in an expression of terminal terror. I stumble backward off the trailer, falling hard onto the pavement. From inside, I hear cracking. The ice formations are moving. The human-shaped columns shift, reorganizing themselves, and I realize with crawling horror that they are human-shaped because they contain humans. Frozen people, preserved in ice, and they're waking up. The Roger sculpture topples forward, crashing onto the pavement beside me. The ice doesn't shatter. It absorbs the impact and continues moving, the figure inside Roger's frozen tomb writhing. His eyes are open. He's still alive in there, still conscious, trapped in ice that won't break. I run for my cab. Behind me, more ice sculptures emerge from the trailer, falling or climbing down, moving with jerky inhuman motions. They don't walk so much as slide, propelling themselves forward on bases of ice that flow like slow water. I reach the cab, haul myself up, slam the door. The engine is still running. I throw the transmission into gear and stomp the accelerator. The truck lurches forward, still attached to the trailer. In my mirrors, I see ice figures scattered on the pavement, including the Roger thing, its frozen arm reaching toward me. The weight, Jesus Christ, the weight. 89,000 pounds because I'm hauling 17 people frozen in ice, plus however much ice it takes to encase them. And they're still forming. Even now, as I accelerate back onto the highway, I can feel the trailer getting heavier, the engine straining harder. My CB crackles to life. Patricia Sullivan, my name in a voice like grinding glaciers. Patricia Sullivan, you cannot escape. You are the delivery driver. You will deliver us. Who are you? I scream at the radio. What do you want? We are the frozen road. We are the collection, every driver who vanished in winter. every trucker lost to ice storms, every soul frozen on Alaskan highways. We accumulated, we merged, now we spread. You will deliver us to Glen Allen and we will spread further. The temperature in my cab begins to drop. I crank the heat to maximum, but frost creeps across the inside of my windshield anyway. The vents blow cold air despite the heater running full blast. "You're killing me," I gasp. My fingers are going numb on the wheel. "We kill nothing, we preserve. Forever frozen, forever driving. You will join the collection, Patricia Sullivan. You will become one with the frozen road." In my passenger mirror, I see the trailer doors. They're still open, swinging with the motion of the truck, and ice pours from them like a waterfall, spreading across the highway behind me. The road itself is freezing, a trail of ice forming in my wake. A car approaches from behind, a civilian vehicle, some tourist or local who doesn't know what they're driving into. I flash my lights, try to warn them, but they're going too fast. I watch in horror as their vehicle hits the ice trail. They lose control instantly. The car spins, flips, rolls off the highway into the trees. I don't see them emerge. "Another one for the collection," the radio voice says. "They will freeze in their car, they will join us. The frozen road grows." Mile markers flash past. I'm doing 80 now, dangerously fast for the conditions, but I can't stop. If I stop, the cold will claim me. My hands are white, frostbitten. Ice crystals form on my eyelashes. I can barely feel my feet on the pedals. The weight continues increasing. I can feel it in every acceleration, every brake application. The truck handles like it's pulling twice the normal load. The suspension groans. Warning lights illuminate on my dash, brake temperature too high from trying to slow the excessive weight, transmission temperature climbing. Another way station ahead, closed at this hour, but the scales are still visible. I watch my weight display as I roll across them even at speed, 94,000 pounds. The voice on the radio laughs. It sounds like ice cracking on a frozen lake. "Soon you will be too heavy to move, the truck will stop, the engine will freeze, and you will join us in the eternal cold." My vision blurs, hypothermia. I recognize the symptoms: confusion, loss of coordination, the strange warmth that makes you want to strip off your clothes even as you freeze to death. I'm dying. The cold is winning. Ahead, lights. Glen Allen. Population 500. One main street, a handful of businesses, a truck stop where I'm supposed to deliver my legitimate cargo. If I make it there, if I can reach people, maybe they can help. But what will I be delivering? A trailer full of frozen nightmares. An ice plague that spreads to anyone who touches it. I make a decision. There's a turnoff ahead, an old logging road that leads into absolute wilderness. No towns, no people, just forest and mountains and emptiness. If I can't save myself, at least I can contain this. Keep the frozen road from spreading to Glen Allen. I take the turn at 60, feeling the trailer swing dangerously behind me. The logging road is barely maintained, full of potholes and frost heaves. The truck bounces violently. Something in the trailer makes a tremendous cracking sound. "No," the radio voice screams. "You will deliver us, you will complete the route." "Fuck your route," I snarl through numb lips. The logging road degrades rapidly. Pavement gives way to gravel, gravel to dirt, dirt to twin ruts through snow. My speed drops to 40, 30, 20. The truck's headlights illuminate nothing but trees and darkness. The engine temperature drops, not from loss of coolant, from supernatural cold. The gauge sinks towards zero. The engine sputters. I've got maybe a mile before it dies completely. I see what I need. A steep embankment dropping away to the left, falling into a ravine thick with trees. If I can get the truck rolling down that slope, the crash will destroy the trailer, scatter the ice formations, maybe even kill them if they can be killed. I aim for the edge. The last thing I think is that my daughter Carla is graduating high school in May, and I wanted to see that. I wanted to see her walk across that stage. The truck goes over. The world tumbles. Metal screams and trees snap, and the cold becomes absolute. I wake up in a hospital. 3 days later, they tell me. They found my truck in the ravine, hauling a trailer full of broken ice and destroyed electronics. No frozen people. No Roger at the way station. He's missing, presumed to have abandoned his post, under investigation for dereliction of duty. The doctors say I had severe hypothermia and frostbite. They amputated 3 fingers on my left hand and 2 toes. But I'm alive. I'm alive, and the frozen road is scattered in a ravine somewhere in the wilderness. Except the hospital room is always cold, even with the heat on maximum, even with extra blankets. And sometimes, late at night, I hear my CB handle being called in that glacial voice. Patricia Sullivan, you broke the delivery, you scattered the collection, but we reform. ICE always reforms, and next winter we will be stronger. We will claim more roads, more drivers, more souls. They're releasing me tomorrow. I'm supposed to go home, recover, eventually return to driving. But I can't, I won't, because I know the truth. The frozen road is still out there, gathering strength, waiting for winter. And next time it will take more than one driver. It will take them all. Story 3, the revised route. The GPS told me to turn left into a road that didn't exist yesterday. And I know it didn't exist because I drove this exact route yesterday, and the day before, and every day for the past 11 years. My name is Marcus Chen, and I run the same route 6 days a week. Anchorage to Talk and back, 498 miles round trip, hauling groceries and supplies to remote communities. I know every curve, every pothole, every mile marker on the Talk cutoff. And there was never a road at mile 72. But the GPS shows it clearly, a left turn onto Revision Road. My mapping system, a high-end Garmin I trust implicitly, displays it as a major highway, thick and yellow on the screen. The mechanical voice announces, in 500 feet, turn left onto Revision Road for a shorter route to Talk, saves 47 minutes. I slow down, confused. The turn is there, a paved road branching off the Talk cutoff, Lee. Ding northwest into forest. It looks new, fresh asphalt, bright yellow line down the center, even a road sign that reads Revision Road, TOK 78 miles. That's impossible. Talk is 132 miles from my current position via the standard route. This new road claims to cut that by 54 miles. In Alaska, where roads cost millions per mile to build through wilderness and permafrost, you don't just construct a major highway overnight. Especially not one that nobody mentioned, that appears on no Department of Transportation updates, that simply manifests between my Tuesday run and my Wednesday run. I reach for my phone to check alternative mapping. No signal. Expected out here, but frustrating. The CB radio crackles with the usual long-haul chatter from drivers hundreds of miles away. I consider asking if anyone knows about this new road, but what would I say? Hey, did Alaska build a highway overnight that none of us noticed? The GPS recalculates. Turn left onto Revision Road. Arrival time moved up by 47 minutes. 47 minutes. That's significant. That's getting home earlier, less fuel burned, easier on my equipment. Against every instinct screaming at me that this is wrong, I signal left and take the turn. The road is perfect. Smooth asphalt, no frost heaves, no potholes. My Freightliner Cascadia rolls onto Revision Road like it's gliding on glass. The trees crowd close on both sides, thick spruce and birch, typical Alaskan forest. The road cuts through them in a straight line, no curves, no elevation changes. Just straight, endless straightness pointing northwest. Mile marker 1 passes on my right, then mile 2. The markers appear at perfect intervals, bright and new. My odometer confirms I'm traveling at 65 miles per hour. Everything seems normal except for the growing unease in my gut. The GPS shows my position on Revision Road, the route highlighted in yellow. ETA to Talk, 47 minutes earlier than usual. I should be relieved. Instead, my hands tighten on the wheel. Mile 5. The trees on both sides are identical, not similar, identical, the same spruce with the curved trunk, the same birch with the split top, repeating every 30 feet like wallpaper. I tell myself I'm imagining it, that trees in a managed forest often look similar. But these aren't similar. They're exact copies. Mile 10, I haven't seen another vehicle, not one. The Talk cutoff usually has light traffic, a few trucks, occasional civilian vehicles, but Revision Road is empty. Just me, perfect asphalt, and endlessly repeating trees. The CB radio erupts with static, then clears. A voice comes through. Revision Road driver, this is Alaska Dot. Please respond. I grab the mic. This is Marcus Chen, Freightliner hauling groceries on Revision Road. Go ahead, Dot. Mr. Chen, you need to exit Revision Road immediately. Take any available exit and return to the talk cutoff. There are no exits, just straight road. Pause, then. Mr. Chen, there is no road called Revision Road in Alaska. You're not on any mapped highway. We don't know where you are. Ice floods my veins. That's impossible. I'm following my GPS. It shows Revision Road clear as day, connecting the talk cutoff to talk. Sir, we're looking at satellite imagery right now. There's no road where you're describing. You need to stop your vehicle and... The transmission cuts to static. I try to respond but get nothing. Every channel is dead. I look at the GPS. Still shows Revision Road, my truck icon moving along it. But now I notice something. The surrounding terrain on the map is blank. Not forest, not topography markers, just empty gray space. Only the road itself is rendered. Mile 20. My fuel gauge drops. I'd filled up in Anchorage, should have 3/4 of a tank. The gauge shows half. That's wrong. I've only driven 20 miles. I shouldn't have burned that much fuel. Mile 25. Now I'm sure the trees are repeating. I start counting. The same pattern of 37 trees cycles every quarter mile. Identical placement, identical shapes, like I'm driving through a loop. But the mile markers keep increasing. I'm making forward progress. I have to be. The odometer confirms it, yet the scenery never changes. Mile 30. The fuel gauge shows a quarter tank. Panic edges into my chest. At this rate, I'll run out before reaching talk, if talk even exists at the end of this road. I try to turn around. The road is wide enough for a U-turn with care. I slow to 20 miles per hour, crank the wheel, begin the turn. The truck responds normally, beginning to arc across the pavement. But I don't turn. Despite the wheel being hard over, despite the truck's front end angling left, my direction doesn't change. I continue pointing straight down Revision Road. The physical sensation says I'm turning. I feel the truck lean, feel the steering effort, but my actual trajectory remains locked forward. I straighten the wheel in shock. The truck stabilizes, I'm still he. Ding northwest, still on the perfectly straight road. No, I whisper, no, no, no. Mile 40, fuel gauge on empty. The engine should be sputtering by now. It runs smoothly, but the gauge insists I have no fuel. I tap it. The needle doesn't budge from E. Mile 50, something appears ahead. A vehicle, another truck parked on the shoulder with hazard lights flashing. As I approach, I see it's a Peterbilt old model covered in road dust. The driver's door hangs open. I slow down, considering stopping to help. Then I see the license plate. Alaska registration, number JRH 847. I know that plate. I saw it 2 years ago on a news report about a missing trucker named Jacob Hess. He vanished on the talk cutoff in April 2022. They never found him or his truck. I accelerate past. As I do, I glimpse inside the cab, someone sitting in the driver's seat. Not moving, not turning to look at me, just sitting there, hands on the wheel, staring straight ahead. Mile 60, another abandoned truck. This one's a Kenworth, even older. The paint is faded, rust streaks the panels, hazards flashing, driver's door open. Cab occupied by a motionless figure. Mile 70, 3 more trucks. All abandoned, all with their drivers still inside, frozen in position. Mile 80, I'm counting now, 7 trucks total. All models I recognize from missing driver reports over the years. They're all here on Revision Road, parked and dead. And I'm going to join them. The realization hits like a physical blow. This road doesn't go to talk. It doesn't go anywhere. It's a trap, a loop, a stretch of impossible highway that collects trucks and drivers and keeps them forever. Mile 90, the GPS updates. Arriving at destination in 3 miles. Destination? What destination? Talk doesn't exist at the end of this road. Only more straightness, more repeating trees, more trapped drivers. Mile 92. Buildings appear ahead. Not talk. This town is smaller, older. False front structures like something from a gold rush era photograph. The architecture is wrong for modern Alaska. The entire town looks like a movie set, a facade with nothing behind it. The GPS announces, "You have arrived at your destination, talk." I'm rolling into the fake town at 30 miles per hour. The street is empty. The buildings are hollow shells. I can see through the windows that there's nothing inside, just wooden frames and darkness. But the town sign confirms it. Welcome to Talk, Alaska. Population 1,258. An impossibility. A lie. Talk is a real town with real people, and this isn't it. In the center of the fake town square, something waits. A structure, not a building, more like a monument. A massive stone arch carved with text I can't read from this distance. As I approach, my headlights illuminate the writing. Revision point, all routes lead here. My truck stops, I don't brake. The engine doesn't die. The truck simply stops moving like it's been grabbed by an invisible hand. The transmission is still in drive, engine still running, but I'm motionless. The driver's door opens by itself. No, I say, I'm not getting out. A voice comes from the CB radio, not the dot voice from before, something else. Multiple voices speaking in unison. Exit your vehicle, Marcus Chen, join the revision, become part of the corrected route. What are you? We are the road correction. The universe contains errors, inefficiencies, routes that waste time, waste fuel, waste potential. We identify these errors and revise them. Revision Road is the corrected path. All inefficient routes lead here to the revision point where they are optimized. Optimized how? By trapping drivers forever. By removing them from the inefficient reality. You wasted 11 years driving the same route. 498 miles, 6 days per week, 52 weeks per year. 3,237,792 miles of redundancy. We offer revision. One final route, permanent efficiency. I look at the stone arch. Other trucks are parked around it. Dozens of them. Centuries of accumulated vehicles from the looks of it, some so old they predate modern trucking, horse-drawn wagons mixed with semis. All arranged in neat rows, all facing the arch, all occupied by drivers sitting motionless behind their wheels. You're death, I say. You're just death dressed up in logistics terminology. We are improvement. We are the revised route, and you have been selected for optimization. My body moves without my permission. Legs swing out of the cab, boots hit pavement, hands release the wheel. I walk toward the arch like a puppet on strings. I can't stop, can't fight. My consciousness is a passenger in my own body. Other drivers emerge from their trucks, the ones I passed on the road. Jacob Hess climbs down from his Peterbilt, moving with jerky motions like he's forgotten how walking works. The others follow. We form a procession toward the arch. As we approach, I see Wah. T's on the other side. Nothing, literally nothing. Not darkness, not void, but an absence so complete my mind can't process it. Looking at it creates a blind spot in my vision, a hole in reality. We're going to walk through that arch into non-existence. Optimization, removal of inefficiency. I fight, I scream, I try to stop my legs from moving. Nothing works. I'm 10 feet from the arch, 5 feet. The non-existence beyond pulls at me like gravity. 1 foot. My phone buzzes in my pocket. The notification breaks the control for just a moment. My hand, my own hand, under my own control, reaches into my pocket, pulls out the phone. Signal. Somehow, impossibly, I have signal here. Text message from my wife, Linda. Drive safe, honey, see you tonight, love you. Love you. I think about Linda. About my daughter, Emma, 12 years old, who wants to be a veterinarian. About my son, David, 8, who collects hockey cards. About my real life, my inefficient, redundant, beautiful life that involves driving the same route 6 days a week because that route feeds my family and gives my existence meaning. I think about them and I stop moving. The voice screams from everywhere at once. No, you will be optimized, you will be revised. Fuck your optimization, I snarl, and I throw my phone at the arch. The phone passes through the stone, into the non-existence beyond, and disappears. For a moment, nothing happens. Then the arch cracks. The fracture spreads like lightning, splitting the stone. Reality bleeds through the cracks, real sky, real trees, real ground. The fake town flickers. The other drivers stop their march, confusion crossing their dead faces. The arch collapses. The non-existence beyond inverts becomes full existence, becomes real space. The revision road shudders. I run back to my truck, climbing into the cab, slamming the door. The engine is still running. I throw the transmission into reverse and stomp the accelerator. The truck responds. I'm moving backward, away from the collapsing arch, away from the fake town. The road behind me isn't straight anymore. It curves, bends, develops the natural imperfections of a real highway. The GPS screams. Static. The screen glitches, showing impossible routes, paths that spiral and loop and intersect themselves. Then the screen goes dark. I keep reversing, craning my neck to see behind me. The fake town crumbles. The other trucks fade like mirages. Mile markers flash past in reverse order. 90, 85, 80. At mile 72, the road ends. One moment I'm on revision road, the next I'm back on the talk cutoff, my truck sitting on the shoulder, engine idling. The turnoff is gone, just solid forest where it had been. My fuel gauge shows 3/4 of a tank. My GPS reboots, displays my actual location. Mile 72, talk cutoff, 132 miles from talk. The CB radio crackles. All drivers on the talk cutoff, be advised, we've received reports of GPS anomalies showing phantom roads. Do not deviate from known routes. I repeat, do not take any road not on official maps. I grab the mic with shaking hands. This is Marcus Chen. I can confirm those anomalies, and they're not just phantom roads, they're traps. I finish my route using paper maps, my GPS unplugged and thrown in the back. The drive takes the full time it's supposed to, every inefficient mile. I make it home that night, hug my wife, kiss my kids, look at my mundane, repetitive, beautiful life and feel grateful for every inefficient moment. But sometimes, late at night, my unplugged GPS lights up in the garage. The screen shows one route glowing yellow, Revision Road, and the estimated time savings increases every time I check. 47 minutes last month, 53 minutes last week, an hour and 12 minutes today. The revised route is still calculating, still optimizing, still waiting for me to make the turn. And it's patient. It has all the time in the world. Story 4, the screaming cargo. The pallets in my trailer have been screaming for 37 minutes, and I've still got 92 miles before I reach the delivery point in Deadhorse. My name is Sarah Vickers, 28 years old, driving commercially for 6 years, and I've hauled everything from live cattle to hazardous materials. I know cargo. I know what different loads sound like, how they shift, how they behave. What I'm hearing now isn't cattle lowing or equipment rattling or anything that should come from 30 pallets of drilling equipment. It's human screaming, dozens of voices, all screaming at once. I'd first heard it at mile 204 on the Dalton Highway, a faint sound I'd dismissed as wind or mechanical noise. By mile 210, it was unmistakable. By mile 215, I'd pulled over, climbed out into negative 20-degree air, and walked around my trailer with my flashlight. The screaming was loudest near the rear doors, muffled but clear, not one voice, many voices. Men, women, children, all screaming in harmony, a chorus of agony emanating from in sea. To my sealed trailer. The seal was intact. The bill of lading listed 30 pallets of drill bits and pipe sections, total weight 64,000 pounds, loaded in Fairbanks 8 hours ago. I'd watched them load it. Forklifts bringing out pallets wrapped in industrial plastic, scanning them, rolling them into my trailer, securing them with load straps. Standard procedure. Nothing unusual. But standard drill bits don't scream. I'd tried calling dispatch. No cell signal. The CB radio brought only static. I was alone on the Dalton, no other vehicles in sight, just me and 200 more miles of Arctic highway and cargo that shouldn't be making sound. I'd considered opening the trailer. The bolt cutters were in my toolbox. Breaking the seal would mean explanations, possible penalties, but at least I'd know. My hand had touched the lock. The screaming stopped. Complete silence. Not even normal cargo sounds, just dead quiet from the trailer. I'd stood there in the freezing dark, bolt cutters in hand, listening to nothing. After 5 minutes, I'd convinced myself I'd imagined it. Auditory hallucination from fatigue, road psychosis. I climbed back in my cab and continued north. At mile 220, the screaming resumed. Louder now, and closer, like the source had moved forward in the trailer, approaching the front wall behind my sleeper berth. Now at mile 241, the screaming is constant. It fills my cab despite the engine noise, despite the heater fan, despite my futile attempts to drown it out with the radio. The voices overlap, creating harmonies that hurt to hear. They're not random screaming. They're rhythmic, synchronized, like they're trying to communicate something through pure sound. I focus on driving. The Dalton is treacherous at night, narrow, winding, cliff edges with no guardrails. Trucks have gone over, disappeared into ravines, not found until spring thaw. I need full attention on the road, but the screaming makes concentration impossible. Words emerge from the chaos, not English, not any language I recognize, but definitely words repeated in that terrible harmony. Vesh con am, vesh con am, vesh con am. My hands are white-knuckled on the wheel. Sweat runs down my spine despite the cold. The trailer weight feels wrong, heavier on turns, like the center of gravity is shifting, like the cargo is moving. Mile 250. The screaming changes pitch, becomes questioning. The rhythm breaks into patterns that sound like conversation. Multiple groups of voices talking to each other, arguing, pleading. I check my mirrors obsessively. The trailer looks normal. Standard 53-footer, my company logo on the side, dot numbers visible. But in the red glow of my taillights, shadows move across the trailer's white surface. Shadows from inside pressed against the walls. Human-shaped shadows, dozens of them. My CB radio crackles to life. A voice, calm, professional, male. Driver of Freightliner number 4729, this is Prudhoe Bay Operations. We've been monitoring your truck. You need to stop immediately. I grab the mic. This is 4729. How are you monitoring me? I don't have GPS tracking active. We're not monitoring electronically. We're monitoring the screaming. We can hear it from here, from 92 miles away. My blood goes cold. What is in my trailer? Silence, then. You weren't supposed to haul that load. It was scheduled for tomorrow, for a specialized driver with proper clearance. There was a mix-up in dispatch. We loaded the wrong trailer onto your schedule. What is in my trailer? Core samples from drilling operations in the permafrost. We drilled too deep into formations that have been frozen for 56 million years. We found something. Something that was alive that long ago that got trapped in ice and stayed, not quite dead. The samples are thawing in your heated trailer. They're waking up. I look at my temperature gauge. The trailer isn't heated, it's a standard dry van. But the gauge shows interior temperature rising, 40 degrees, 50, 60, impossible without a heating unit. Whatever's in those samples generates heat, the voice continues. And sound, and something else we don't fully understand. You need to stop the truck, evacuate at least half a mile away, and wait for our containment team. How long until they reach me? 4 hours. I can't stop for 4 hours. It's -20 outside. My engine will freeze solid in 90 minutes without running. I'll die of hypothermia. Better you die than reach Deadhorse with that cargo. If those samples fully wake up in a populated area, the results will be catastrophic. The screaming intensifies. The trailer rocks on its suspension, swaying side to side. Something is thrashing inside, throwing its weight against the walls. The shadows in my mirrors multiply, pressing outward, and I see the trailer walls bulge. They're breaking out, I say into the mic. Whatever's in there, they're breaking through. The walls. Impossible. Those are steel-reinforced walls. Nothing organic can. A splitting crack cuts him off. In my mirror, I see a section of the trailer wall tear open. Not from internal pressure, it tears deliberately, peeled back like opening a can. Something emerges, an appendage. Not quite an arm, not quite a tentacle. Segmented, translucent, leaking fluid that steams in the cold air. The appendage waves, testing the air, then reaches forward, toward my cab. It extends impossibly, stretching 15 feet, 20 feet, bridging the gap between the trailer and the tractor unit. The tip is studded with structures that might be eyes or mouths or sensory organs I can't comprehend. It touches my cab roof. I hear scraping, metal creaking. The thing is feeling its way forward, trying to find a way in. "It's on my cab," I scream into the radio. "It's trying to get inside." Disconnect the trailer, release the fifth wheel and drive away. I'm going 60 miles per hour. If I disconnect now, the trailer will jackknife, probably take me with it. Then accelerate, get to Deadhorse. We'll evacuate the town and contain it there. I stomp the accelerator. My Freightliner is governed at 75, but I'm pulling 64,000 pounds up a grade. Speed climbs slowly. 65. 70. The appendage on my roof scrapes harder, metal screaming against whatever that thing is made of. More appendages emerge from the torn trailer wall. 4, 6, a dozen. They wave like sea anemones, then all simultaneously reach forward. They grab onto my cab, finding purchase on mirror mounts, door handles, the exhaust stack. They pull. The trailer is pulling itself forward, climbing along my truck toward the cab. The fifth wheel connection groans under abnormal stress. I can feel the weight distribution changing, the front end getting lighter as the trailer leverages itself forward. Mile 260. The screaming is inside my cab now, coming from the sleeper berth directly behind me. I risk a glance back. The curtain is drawn, but I can see movement behind it. Shapes. Multiple shapes. They've gotten inside somehow, bypassing the physical barrier between trailer and cab. A face presses against the curtain fabric. Not human. The proportions are wrong, too much forehead, eyes too far apart, mouth opening vertically instead of horizontally. It's followed by another face. Another. The sleeper berth is full of them, pressed together, watching me. The face things begin to vocalize. The screaming takes on structure, becomes almost language. Vesh con am, vesh con am, vesh con am. "What does that mean?" I shout. "What are you trying to say?" The CB radio responds, but it's not the Prudhoe Bay voice anymore. It's the screaming voices broadcast through the radio. "Vesh con am, vessel to name, give us vessel, give us names, we are many, we need many bodies, many identities, you will be first." Oh God, they want bodies, they want to inhabit people, and I'm delivering them to a town of humans. I can't let that happen, but what choice do I have? Stop and freeze? Let them take me here alone on the highway. At least in Deadhorse there might be weapons, might be fire, might be something that can kill these things. An appendage smashes through my passenger window. Glass explodes inward. The segmented arm sweeps across the cab, searching, and wraps around my right arm. The touch burns and freezes simultaneously. My skin blisters. The thing pulls, trying to drag me out of my seat. I yank the wheel hard left, then hard right. The truck swerves violently. The appendage loses grip. I grab my thermos, still full of near-boiling coffee, and fling the contents at the arm. Steam rises. The appendage recoils, withdrawing through the broken window. But more take its place. They're pouring through the window now, filling my cab. I can barely see the road. The screaming is deafening. Mile 270. Through the mass of writhing appendages, I glimpse lights ahead. Deadhorse. The town appears as a cluster of yellow lights in the Arctic darkness. Population 25 in winter, all of them about to be vessels for these 56-million-year-old horrors. The CB radio crackles. 4729, this is Deadhorse Fire Department. We've been briefed. We're evacuating. Stay on the main road, drive through town, continue north to the coast. Drive into the Arctic Ocean. It's the only way to kill them. The ocean is frozen solid. Drive onto the ice. Once you're a mile offshore, the ice is thin enough. You'll break through. The ocean is deep and cold. They can't survive that. You drown them and yourself, or you let them loose in the world. My choice, my life, or potentially thousands of lives. The appendages have found my neck. They wrap around my throat, tightening. Black spots dance in my vision. I can't breathe, can't think. I see my mother's face in my mind. She'd be devastated if I die, but she'd be prouder if I die saving others. I aim for the water. Dead ho. RSE passes in a blur. Empty streets, every building dark, the whole town evacuated. I blow through at 80 miles per hour, the truck shaking, the appendages crushing me, the screaming reaching a crescendo. The road ends at the coast. A boat launch ramp leads onto the frozen Beaufort Sea. I don't slow down. The freightliner hits the ice at 75 miles per hour. For 100 yards, the ice holds. Then I feel it crack. The front end breaks through. The truck tilts forward, nose diving into black water. The momentum carries us forward, tractor and trailer sliding off the ice shelf into the ocean. Arctic water floods the cab. The cold is absolute, stopping my heart for a beat. The appendages release me, recoiling from the water. The screaming cuts off. The truck sinks. I'm still strapped in my seat, my lungs burning, my body shutting down from the cold. Through the broken windshield, I see them, the things from the samples, expelled from my trailer as it floods. They look like nothing from Earth. Radially symmetric bodies, too many limbs, structures that might be sensory organs or weapons or reproductive systems. Dozens of them, all dying in the salt water, dissolving like they're made of sugar. My vision fades. This is it. This is how I die. 28 years old, drowning in the Arctic Ocean to save a town I'd never even visited before tonight. I wake up in a hospital, Dead Horse Emergency Clinic. They tell me divers from Prudhoe Bay pulled me out after the truck sank. I was clinically dead for 4 minutes. They revived me. Severe hypothermia, frostbite, 3 cracked ribs from the seatbelt, but alive. The things in my trailer are dead. The truck and cargo are resting on the ocean floor, 400 feet down, entombed forever in the Arctic deep. I'm a hero, they say, saved the town, saved potentially the world from an extinction-level biological threat. My company is giving me a commendation. The Department of Defense wants to interview me. But I can still hear them. Late at night in my hospital room, I hear the screaming, faint now, distant but present, and the words are clearer than ever. Vesh Konam, vessel to name. We are in you now, you were our first vessel, we survived. We are patient. We will wait inside you. And when you return south to cities, to crowds, to populations, we will spread. I look at my hands, they look normal. But sometimes in certain lights I see shapes moving under my skin, segmented shapes, writhing. They tell me I can go home in 3 days, back to Anchorage, back to civilization. And I want to refuse, want to stay here isolated, contained. But my mouth says, thank you, I can't wait to go home. Except it doesn't sound like my voice. It sounds like dozens of voices, all speaking in perfect harmony. All screaming. Story 5, The Driver Who Wasn't. I've been sitting in the parking lot of the Northern Lights truck stop for 2 hours, watching myself refuel at pump 7. My name is Thomas Whitaker, and the person fueling my truck, wearing my jacket, using my fuel card, moving with my mannerisms, is not me. I know because I'm sitting here in my truck, and I've been here the whole time, and that thing at pump 7 looks exactly like me. It started in Fairbanks this morning. I'd loaded 43,000 pounds of prefab housing materials bound for a mining camp outside Weissman. Standard run, route I've driven 24 times. While securing the load, I'd noticed another driver watching me from across the loading dock. Tall guy, my build, wearing a jacket similar to mine. When I looked directly at him, he smiled. It was my smile. Same crooked front tooth, same crow's feet at the corners. I dismissed it as coincidence. Lots of middle-aged white guys in trucking. We tend to look similar, worn faces, thick jackets, tired eyes. Then I saw him again at my first fuel stop. He was 3 pumps away, filling a Peterbilt identical to mine. Same company colors, same unit number, 4729. I walked over to get a closer look. The truck was mined down to the specific pattern of bug splatter on the windshield. The driver had his back turned. When he turned around, I was looking at my own face. "Excuse me," ID said. "That's my truck." He smiled, my smile. "No, it's my truck. I've been driving 4729 for 6 years. You must be confused." "I'm Thomas Whitaker. That's my unit number, my load." He pulled out a driver's license. "Thomas Whitaker, my address, my CDL number, my phone," except it was him in the picture, not me. I'd pulled out my own license. "Thomas Whitaker. Same address, same CDL number, my actual photo." We stood there, two identical men with identical credentials, staring at each other. "This isn't possible," I said. "I agree, you should probably leave before you cause problems. I have a delivery schedule to keep." He'd climbed into my truck, his truck, and driven away. I'd stood in the fuel bay, holding my license, questioning reality. Then I looked at my hand. The truck keys were still in it. If he'd driven away in my truck, how did I still have the keys? I turned around. My Peterbilt was still there, right where I'd parked it. Load secured, fuel tank full, engine idling. I'd approached cautiously. Everything was correct. The scratch on the driver's door from that low branch in Montana, the faded company decal, my air freshener hanging from the mirror. I'd climbed in and continued my route. But my hands had shaken on the wheel, and I couldn't shake the conviction that something fundamental had broken in reality. Now I'm at the Northern Lights truck stop, and he's here again, the other Thomas Whitaker. He'd arrived 10 minutes after me, parking his Peterbilt, my Peterbilt, 3 spaces away. I'd watched him climb down, stretch, walk into the truck stop restaurant. He moved like me, same favoring of the left leg from that old knee injury, same habit of rolling my shoulders to loosen them. I should confront him, but I'm afraid. What if this time he's more real than me? What if when we compare licenses, mine is the one that's wrong? My CB radio crackles. "Thomas Whitaker, this is dispatch. Respond, please." I grab the mic. "This is Whitaker, go ahead." "Thomas, we're showing 2 active check-ins from Unit 4729. One from your current location, one from Livengood. Care to explain?" "Livengood? I'm at Northern Lights, 40 miles south of Fairbanks." "Our system shows Unit 4729 in both locations simultaneously. Both check-ins used your credentials. Both trucks are showing as fully loaded on schedule. It's like, Thomas, are you running some kind of duplicate system?" "No, there's someone else. Someone who looks like me driving a truck identical to mine. I've seen him." Long pause. "Thomas, are you feeling okay? Have you taken your medication?" "Medication. They think I'm having an episode. I have diagnosed bipolar disorder, well managed with lithium for 8 years. Never missed a dose. Never had a psychotic break. This is real." "I'm fine. I'm telling you there's a duplicate." "Okay, Thomas. We need you to return to Fairbanks for a medical evaluation before continuing your route. Company policy when drivers report unusual experiences." "They're grounding me, taking away my CDL because I told the truth." "Understood," I say and hang up. I watch the other Thomas exit the restaurant. He's carrying a coffee and a sandwich, roast beef on wheat, exactly what I would have ordered. He walks to his truck, climbs in, and drives away, heading north, toward Weissman on my route. I follow him. We drive in convoy for 60 miles, me hanging back 300 yards, watching my own truck navigate the Elliott Highway. He drives exactly like me. Same speed, same following distance, same anticipation of curves. It's like watching a recording of myself. My phone rings. Unknown number, I answer. "Thomas, stop following me." It's my voice calling from ahead. "Who are you?" I demand. "I'm Thomas Whitaker. I'm 46 years old. I've been driving truck for 16 years. I have 2 ex-wives, a daughter who won't speak to me, and a prescription for lithium that I take every morning. I'm you." "You can't be me, I'm me." "Are you sure? Think about this morning. Do you remember loading your truck? Really remember it? Or do you just remember that you should have loaded it?" I try to recall loading the truck in Fairbanks. The memory is fuzzy. I remember being at the loading dock, remember watching forklifts, remember securing straps, but the details are vague, like remembering a movie I'd seen instead of something I'd done. "I don't understand," I whisper. "The Elliott Highway has a reputation," the voice says. "Drivers go missing. Not dramatically, no crashes, no bodies, they just cease to exist. Families file reports, but there's never anything to investigate. The drivers vanish from reality like they never were." "I haven't vanished." "Haven't you? When's the last time someone other than dispatch contacted you? Your daughter, your friends, your ex-wives?" I try to remember. My last conversation with Angela, my daughter. When was it? Last week, last month, the memory won't come into focus. The highway takes drivers, the voice continues. But nature abhors a vacuum. When someone vanishes, something has to fill the space they left. A replacement. A continuation. I'm your continuation, Thomas. I'm the version of you that kept existing after you started to disappear. That's insane. Is it? You're talking to yourself on the phone. Your truck is in two places at once. Your employer thinks you're having a psychotic break, which reality is more insane. I look at my dashboard. The GPS shows my location on the Elliott Highway, but the map looks wrong. The roads don't quite line up with how I remember them. Towns are in different positions. Even the shape of Alaska seems subtly incorrect. I'm driving you to completion, the voice says. Every mile I drive on your route, you fade a little more by the time I reach Wise. Man, you'll be gone entirely. No one will remember you except as me. I'll have your life, your memories, your existence, and you'll have never been. No, I say, I won't let that happen. You can't stop it. It's already happening. Look at your hands. I look, my hands on the steering wheel are translucent. I can see through them to the wheel beneath, faint like a ghost's hands, like I'm fading from reality. Panic surges. I accelerate, closing the gap between my truck and his. If I can stop him, force him off the road, maybe I can stop myself from disappearing. 70 miles per hour, 80. My truck shudders at the speed, the load too heavy for safe high-speed driving, but I'm fading. My arms are almost transparent now. I can see my jacket, but my body beneath it is vanishing. The other Thomas's voice comes through the CB. You can't win, Thomas. I'm the real one now, you're just an echo. I pull into the left lane, drawing alongside him. Through both drivers' windows, we make eye contact. He looks solid, real, present. I look at my own reflection in my window. I'm barely there. A smudge, a ghost. He smiles, waves. Then he drifts right into my lane, forcing me onto the shoulder. I hit gravel at 80 miles per hour. The truck loses traction. I yank the wheel, trying to recover, but the trailer swings out. I'm jackknifing. The truck tilts, rolls, leaves the ground. In the moment of weightlessness before impact, I see him drive past. Steady, solid, real, living my life. Then I hit the embankment, and the world becomes pain and crushing metal. I wake up in darkness. Not injured darkness, just dark, absolute darkness. I try to move and find I have no body, no truck around me, no ground beneath me, just consciousness floating in void. Other voices emerge from the darkness. Dozens of them, all trucker voices, all confused. Where are we? I was driving the Dalton, then nothing. How long have I been here? Is anyone there? We're the vanished drivers, the ones the Elliott Highway took. Consciousness without body, existence without presence. Trapped in the space between real and unreal while our replacements live our lives in the world. I try to scream. No lungs to scream with, try to rage. No body to express rage, just thought, just awareness. Just eternal, helpless existence in nowhere. And somewhere in the real world, the other Thomas Whitaker delivers his load to Weissman. He'll collect his pay, drive his next route, live his life. My life, the life I've lost. No one will know, no one will mourn, because as far as reality is concerned, I never stopped existing. Thomas Whitaker is still driving truck, still making deliveries, still living. Just not me. Not anymore.